a little bit earlier, to be doing it with a deck like Gardevoir with Kyurem in the format. Wow, what a performance. Nevertheless, this is such an accomplishment for Ari. I'm so excited to see what he's got in store against what we could probably say is pretty unconventional of a deck this format. But like you said, it's definitely Origin Form Palkia V-Star stocks about to skyrocket.
Yeah, I mean, I brought one complete Pokemon TCG deck with me this weekend. I was missing a few cards for the other ones. The complete one was Origin Form Palkia V-Star Dusknoir. I love this deck. It is so fun to play, and honestly, some of the most fun I've had playing Pokemon in a while.
Yeah, it goes to show that you should also just never get rid of your bulk. I know we haven't seen Palkia for quite some time, but I know for me, the moment I started seeing kind of the whispers that it's back, I definitely went back in my little binder and I was like, all right, how many Palkias do I have? Okay, I have this amount. We are getting ready to go. That is going to be a mulligan on Hunter Butler over to Ari. And here's the thing, you're giving Gardevoir more cards? I don't know how I feel about that one, Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? You're not drawing that basic Pokemon in the Pokemon TCG. You have to mulligan your hand away to try to find one of those. And for every mulligan you do that your opponent doesn't also mulligan, you're going to give them extra cards.
To see it. Love to see it if you're Ari, right? You want to just see as many options as possible. I think while I was glancing at the hand, I was able to see a Buddy Puff, and that's all that you could really ask for here. But we'll see how this one is going to go. I do believe I see a Duskull in the hand. I believe we have multiple choices, though. Really want to see if Hunter is going to prioritize getting out the Dusknoir line as fast as possible, or, you know, finding that one of Greninja EX. There's so many routes.
Yeah, so essentially the way this Palkia V-Star deck works, which, by the way, you calling Palkia bulk is still really hurtful. It was so dominant.
I know, it
for
was
so long.
What regional was it where it was all 8 top 8 spots?
Oh, it had to be like a Melbourne regional or
Yeah,
something like that. But here, you basically use that star portal to power up your attackers in Palkia V-Star, that Radiant Greninja, and even Froakie, which you can then rare candy into that Greninja EX that we see in the prize cards. You got a lot of versatility in the deck, and then when you throw the Pokestop, Night Stretcher, Dusknoir engine into this deck, you can take a knockout on a Pheasantipity with a Moonlight Shuriken in one turn, thanks to that Curse Blast.
Well, we might not be able to see it this game, Jeremy, as it will be at the tippy top of our prizes, but we are going to jump in to our round 9 winning in between Hunter Butler and Ari. Here we go. It is going to be on the side, I believe, of Hunter Butler first. We have a Radiant Greninja in the active with the Water Energy, so we can already concealed cards. We're seeing a lot of cards this game from both players.
Always risky to start a Radiant Greninja against a deck like Gardevoir just because it plays multiple copies of cards like Fluttermane and Klefki to shut off those abilities, especially if it's in the active spot. Kind of dodged a bullet there, and having a Nest Ball to go grab something like that Origin Form Palkia V could be good to just establish a good early game attacker.
What I love about Hunter Butler is I think this was the fastest deck search I think I've ever seen, right? You could see the Pokemon already at the top of the deck, like, all right, I have this, this. All right, we'll keep going. I have to say, though, the inclusion of Rotom V has been surprising me in a lot of decks. I think for the second highest placing Miraidon list that Ryan Harris showed off at Worlds, I was like, okay, you know what? A lightning Pokemon in Miraidon like Rotom V just kind of makes sense for another Forest Seal target, so you can use Raikou V and Raichu V to give them like a Bravery Charm or a Skateboard. That makes something, or that makes sense of that, but to see Rotom in Palkia? Interesting.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to draw more cards, and that's really the best thing in Pokemon is drawing cards. I mean, when you have your player like Ari, you want to draw a lot of cards with Refinement, Kirlias. You get those in play as fast as possible.
Doing the due diligence of writing down prize cards too. We like to see this as well. You're at the end of the day. You can't afford to make any mistakes here. So Hunter just taking times on this first deck search here. Do not blame him at all. But from that Nest Ball is just going to have, I believe that is a Squawkabilly EX hitting the bench. And this is what we want to see turn 1 every single time, right? We want to use as much of the hand as possible, get it going. There's that Duskull hitting the bench as well. Dare I say, as long as we get a Palkia going here too, Jeremy, this is a great start.
Yeah, and honestly, to speak on your fastest deck search, fastest prize check kind of thing. That's what happens when you've been playing for 17
Yeah,
years
that's
for
very
Hunter.
fair.
Regional champion in the expanded format for Dallas Regionals. 2 top 16s from last season. And again, just trying to uh, get another big win in the books up against a first-time regional participant in Ari Spruill.
I have to say, the a first-time regional participant on stream on their winning end.
Yeah.
Like this is a great run from Ari. But I have to say, just looking at the hand right now, there were a couple ball search cards, right? So we saw the Ultra Ball, but then again, there were also a lot of night stretchers here. I feel like this deck and the Dusknoir line in particular can be very reliant at certain points on getting those Pokemon back. So when we see a lot of night stretchers going down, I get a little bit nervous there just because we can get a Pokemon or a basic energy back. And that doesn't have to be a basic Pokemon. It does have to be a basic energy, though.
Yeah, a little bit different from, per se, Alex Szymanski's list that we saw
Sure.
earlier, where you have the Darkrai V-Star to get back those item cards if you need them later on. You're trying to utilize the Star Portal to get those energies in play instead.
Okay, heading on over to Ari's turn here. You love to see it if you're Ari, right? You got your Arven, you have Earthen Vessel, and of course you have that Buddy Pop, and we're able to go out and find our 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less, throw them onto the bench. But as we could see from our prize cards, 1 copy of Ralts, not a big deal. Heroes game, you know, it's at the bottom, it's fine, but 1 copy of your Gardevoir EX in there, you definitely have to keep note of that.
Yeah, we even see the inclusion of a Gallade in this list, the Buddy Catch, to be able to search for a supporter every turn. Could come in handy as the game goes along. But Hero's Cape is an interesting inclusion. Again, I was talking about it before, where Vezinipity EX kind of just made Unfair Stamp not really good anymore. And even in a Gardevoir EX, Hero's Cape could put in a lot of work thanks to that Drifloon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Screamtail.
Yeah, I was about to say the
There's no Drifloon in the list.
Oh, okay. So we've just left the Drifloon at home. There is a Klefki, like you said, in a little bit earlier, and the Flutter Mane as well. So other than just no balloons, it's no free balloon on free balloon day. It is just going to have to be very interesting, though. 3 Monkey Dories.
Yeah, really going in on Monkey Dory in this list. And honestly, I love the evolution that Gardevoir has taken as a deck throughout its time in Pokemon. Really just focusing on, I want to go first, and then like rare candies for Gardevoir. You just get a lot of Curlia set up and kind of go about the game plan there. Now it is, I want to go second. I want to Arven. I want to Buddy Poffin. I want a Technical Machine Evolution. Get those Curlias in play. That way next turn I can still evolve into a Gardevoir.
Yeah, and honestly, this hand for Ari right now is amazing here. Already has a lot of the resources, has a Curlia in hand already, but we are going to see that Technical Machine Evolution where we are able to evolve 2 of our Pokemon. Usually this is played in Gardevoir here just to get those Curlias ready to go, but I think it's very important to note out, Jeremy, that our main attacker is Palkia in this deck, and we can't really just be filling our bench all just the way we want to here, because Palkia, when it evolves into Palkia V-Star, has that subspace swell attack that scales based off of how many Pokemon are benched on each side.
See, you say it's the main attacker of the deck, but with this board state, the way I see it, the main attacker is Radiant Greninja.
Oh, true.
We could see a very explosive turn where Rare Candy Dusknoir hits the board, you Curse Blast, take a knockout on that Manaphy, and then you Star Portal to charge up the Radiant Greninja, Moonlight Shuriken, bolt the Curlia away. And it's looking like it could get there. Trekking Shoe is going to be pretty big.
I was about to say there's one piece of the puzzle right there with that Prime Catcher, right? We do also have the ability to knock the Manaphy out with just Cursed Blast, too. Like, there's a lot of lines here. Very interesting. And honestly, for a single prize deck like Gardevoir that we were saying, you know, could be good in the meta just in general as a single prize deck, but maybe not around certain decks, Dusclops is going to come down. It's very interesting, but it will be the Prime Catcher up here. Palkia, see what we got going on here.
Yeah, I think we're missing the third energy. Hunter's going to have to settle for just 2 off this Star Portal. It will net the knockout thanks to the Prime Catcher bringing up that Curlia, but it's not really what you want to see. Was really relying on the restart from the Mew EX to draw into a supporter. The deck is not playing too many supporters, right? It's 4 Iono and an Irida, I think, is literally the only counts. So you're really relying on cards like Pokestop. So when you don't get it, you're a little bit slower.
Not necessarily the worst thing in the world to lose a Vault or a Curlia when we have another one in the hand, if you will. But Earthen Vessel, great sequencing here from Ari, just getting all of that psychic energy out of the deck now onto our board here. And we can already see that we could be seeing a Monkey Dory very soon. We're getting it ready to go, but there is Artisan. We are going to go on ahead and play it. Grab a Pokemon without a rule box out of the decks. Just a little stage one, or just a baby basic for this one. We'll see how it goes, though.
Yeah, again, Gardevoir is just trying to set up, try to thin out as much as possible with your refinements. Get those Psychic Energies in the discard so you can Psychic Embrace to your attackers as needed. One thing that's been kind of missing from Ari for this first turn was something like Flutter Mane or Klefki to maybe slow Hunter down a little bit. But seeing only 2 energies and not seeing the big Curse Blast, Moonlight Shuriken play has to be refreshing for Ari.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can handle the Palkia as it comes because the Palkia only really takes just one prize card at a time. So we do have time to set up. And Gardevoir is one of those decks that can just take all the time that it needs. Well, you were talking about Flutter Mane, Jeremy, and there it is, just right off of the first refinement here. We have a ton of Pokemon to really kind of work with. We have an Arven. We are going to evolve our active Ralts into that Curlia. We are going to activate our second refinement. We're going to get rid of that Flutter Mane, I believe, and we will, and draw 2 more cards. There's the Klefki and the Buddy Poffin. So honestly, Jeremy, we're finding everything just like one turn too late.
Yeah, and you do see Arven in the hand that's useful to search out for an item and a tool. But again, you have your one of your Gardevoir EX in the prize cards. So you're going to be forced to use something like Ultra Ball to find that Gardevoir, maybe to save that Curlia around for another, or just save it in play, because it is a pretty good target for something like a Curse Blast on Hunter's side.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. We are going to be grabbing Ultra Ball and then just using the Technical Machine Evolution just as kind of a way to get there a little bit faster. Going to discard the Klefki here, and like you said, probably just going to be grabbing the only Gardevoir EX that we are able to grab here. I'm very interested to see what we're attacking with, what the line is, and how we want to make sure that our board state isn't going to just get blown up next turn.
Now, I do believe there is a Screamtail in hand for Ari. Now, a Screamtail with 4 energies does 160 damage, which is enough to take a knockout on that Squawkabilly EX if you want, or even just taking a knockout on the Dusclops, because it could become a Dusknoir on the following turn. You also have options to attack with the Monkey Dory, just confusing the Origin Form Palkia V-Star, hopefully buying another turn, and just rely on the flips.
Well, it is going to be the attach from hand onto the Monkey Dory like we talked about, and even benching a second one too. So we'll see where this one is going to go. Oh, yep, that one was evolved this turn. Good catch by Hunter too. Going to go to the one onto the bench. So that actually does change a few things. Now we have to count how much energy we have. Like you said, I think the correct play is to go for somewhat of a, quote, stall, I guess, with Monkey Dory. You can also use Adrenabrain to move some of those damage counters over to the other side, too, which would be great, but we'll see what the line actually is.
Well, we Psychic Embraced to the active Curlia, 20 damage on there, and now you got to think about Counter Catcher. Is a very big card in this matchup. Both players are playing a couple copies at least. I guess 1 for Hunter, which is surprising, but you got to fit some of the cards in the deck, you know.
I mean, why play 1 Counter Catcher when you could play 3 Trekking Shoes and just dig, right? We're just digging it through the deck all the way. Ari making a tough decision here, but like you said, there is a Screamtail here that we could really work with. So going to be the hard retreat into the Screamtail. Like you said, 4 energy right there is going to be just enough to roaring scream onto that bench. Probably just take out the squad.
Well, there is a play. You can Adrenabrain the 20 damage to the Mew EX and then 160 to the Mew. That actually gets rid of the draw power for Hunter Butler's deck. Essentially just right there. You know that Hunter did not have a supporter last turn, so being able to get rid of that is huge.
And still, though, has the draw a little bit with the Radiant Greninja. do have at least one water energy in the hand. But like you said, taking out the draw engine, super key here. But it is going to be Hunter going on over to his side to actually use the Artisan himself. But could just be for a deck search. You can always just deck search and not take anything. But still, I mean, we have that trekking shoes. We can dig a little bit earlier. We have the Ultra Ball. So we'll see what Hunter's line is. But I have to say, great play by Ari.
Yeah, Hunter's eyeing down that Pheasantipity EX. Could be a great card to come back in the game, just drawing 3 after a big knockout, but opts to get the Dust Skull. That means we're going to see at least a water energy discarded for that concealed cards, along with that trekking shoes to try to get a big Iono here.
Yeah, that would be absolutely massive. But it is just going to be the Curse Blast right away on to Screamtail here, getting rid of the threat right there. So Ari is going to take 1 prize here. Hunter not going to be able to find the Greninja like he probably hopes for off of the prizes. It is just going to be a water energy.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool here, just the Curse Blast opening up the bench, so Hunter still has access to the Pheasantipity EX with the Ultra Ball in hand. Now, granted, you'll probably want to use the Trekking Shoes and the Concealed cards just to find more cards, but being able to clear that attacker out that easily, Dusclops putting in a ton of work in this matchup, especially when your opponent is damaging their own attackers.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, Pheasantipity could come down. There was an Ultra Ball in hand. Do also have concealed cards, like you said. So there are plenty of ways to kind of get Hunter's hand just like back to where we need to be. But there's the Irida, and we can grab a water Pokemon and an item here. So we could just Nest Ball for Pheasantipity.
Well, no, it was actually discarded with the Trekking Shoes, and then the Trekking Shoes found the Nest Ball.
Oh, okay.
So either way, you still get there. But now you don't have to discard more resources with that Ultra Ball in hand. You can maybe even save it for a Dusknoir later this turn.
Flipping the script. Pokemon's knocked out last turn. You can just go on ahead, draw 3. It's one of my favorite cards, I think, in the format. Some say it ruins the format, but still, nevertheless, is just you see cards, looks pretty good. We'll see what the concealed cards gives us. Like you said, I think we are just trying to find like an Iono. That's one of the dangerous things about playing a deck like Gardevoir. You just constantly are kind of being aimed to have your hand disrupted at any moment.
Now, Ultra Ball did find the Dusknoir. Hunter has access to a Rare Candy in hand, so you can Rare Candy, get that in play. Potentially Curse Blast yet again, but that's going to put Ari down to 2 prize cards left for this game 1.
Yeah, and honestly, nothing is really stopping anything like what could be finding a Super Rod just to get our Screamtail back, and then using something like Hero's Cape to get that damage all the way up and just knocking out that Squawkabilly or even the Palkia itself. So this is a very dangerous game that Hunter's about to play, but Subspace Swell going to bring us down to 2 prizes apiece.
Well, listen, one thing it also does is it limits your opponent's Ionos.
Very
so Iono from Ari now, which is in hand, is only going to net him 2 cards. So it is kind of playing around that as well. You take out the Kirlia for that extra draw power.
It's so interesting because I think Hunter has played this matchup right by just getting rid of all of the draw power from Kirlia as fast as possible, right? Using the Curse Blast. I think we saw this a little bit earlier during our Charizard and Lugia matchup where we were just able to KO the Chinchinos just the moment they hit the bench. But one of Gardevoir's strong suits is really using all of the refinements to draw as many cards that we can find as possible. But I personally am just loving the way that Hunter is just using the Dusknoir line to do just that.
Yeah, now it is up to Ari to try to counter back the big knockout that Hunter did. It's 2-2 prizes, and that's all thanks to Dusclops and Dusknoir in the same turn. Now, with less bench Pokemon on Ari's side, that means this Origin Form Palkia V-Star is going to have a little bit more trouble to take down that Gardevoir EX, which is probably going to be one of the big attackers later on for Ari. But right now, I think it's just Monkey Dory all the way.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Like, you can just go on ahead and play a little bit of the stall game, if you will. I didn't keep track of how many Super Rods were down, but I see I see Arven, I see Iono. There's a bunch of different lines here, but waving the Arven potentially, I know we do see the Hero's Cape, so like we said, big damage output is possible here, so it is going to be the Arven. And if we do have that Super Rod, we could potentially get back that Screamtail, but it will be the Earthen Vessel.
Yeah, Arven's kind of rough, at least with the way Ari has built this deck, because you can, he has Buddy Buddy Poffin in hand, right?
Right.
Usually that searches for something like a Drifloon. You can pair with the Hero's Cape to take a big knockout. But the main attackers for Ari, at least the way that he chose to build the deck, is 2 Fluttermanes and a Screamtail. You can't search those with Buddy Buddy Poffin. So you would have to find the Super Rod and something like a Nest Ball.
He has the Nest Ball in hand.
That's the one of copy? That's insane.
Yeah, that's why I kept bringing up, oh, if we have Super Rod, then we can go back and hit the Screamtail off the Nest Ball into the Hero's Cape, but it doesn't look like we're going to go that route. So we actually have to take something like a different route here. But like I said, yeah, one of Nest Ball. It's definitely a list that works for Ari. And like we were talking about kind of like all day, you can tweak your list to work however you want to, but then it comes into plays like this where a Drifloon would go absolutely great here and just win us this game, but we're not seeing it.
You got the regular attachment of the Dark Energy on that Bench Monkey Dory, and we are going to see it attack here. Mind Bend, after moving some damage counters, it's going to confuse that Origin Form Palkia V-Star. No, we're going to attack with the Gardevoir. Okay.
It's definitely an interesting play here, but I mean, I definitely don't disagree with it, right? I mean, if Palkia were to just go on ahead and take out a single prizer, at least we're throwing in something a little bit more bulky right now, and then there's the Hero Cape as well.
Speaking of bulky.
Yeah, I was about to say. That Gardevoir looks so beautiful with her little cape on.
Moving the 6 damage counters, thanks to both of the Adrenabrains from the Monkey Dories. Now you got a lot of damage on that Origin Form Palkia V-Star. It's the only attacker for Hunter. Can he pull together the victory here? Could have taken a knockout on the Duskull, but we're going to do some counting. I believe it is 220. That Gardevoir has 410 health. Even a Dusknoir Curse Blast is not going to be able to get there.
That's kind of the hard part here, right? Because the moment, if Hunter doesn't win on this term, it seems like Ari just has everything to go to, but got to talk about it. I mean, Hunter is playing one of my favorite cards, a Lost Vacuum. So we are also playing a Pokestop as well, so maybe we could just roll into it. I mean, there are 3 just in the deck. We got to get that Artisan out of there, though. So honestly, I have to say Ari going for the Mew EX was a massive, massive play.
Yeah, it really changed the pressure of this game onto Hunter. And granted, we don't even know if the Lost Vacuum is still in the deck. Could have been discarded early, but we have not really seen it. Checking Shoes Digging. That's a Dusknoir. That helps the first part. You can Rare Candy, Dusknoir, Curse Blast, get damage on that Gardevoir EX. But if there's no other way to draw cards to find that Lost Vacuum, this could be just game over.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think it's so funny how, like you said, Unfair Stamp is just out of the format, and you know what's in? Hero's Cape. But we've seen it in both Charizard and Gardevoir, but it is just going to be the scoop from Hunter Butler. He cannot get around Gardevoir with a cape on. Ari, 1 game away from locking in his first day 2 at his first regional.
Yeah, usually the saying is no capes. But Ari here is saying yes capes. It's going to help me win the game and 1 step closer to punching a ticket into day 2.
It just felt like some of the pieces just were not there. I think I also just heard Hunter in my ear saying, I just don't want to tie. And that's the thing, right? From last season, we were talking about how players were like, you know what, I'll make it this far and then I'll tie or I'll ID and I'll just get into day 2. But with the new tournament structure with 21 match points to make it there, you just cannot do it like that anymore. Let's check out the replay really quickly before we hop into our next game. Got to talk about it. I mean, Jeremy, you called it perfectly here on the Mew play. Going after it, it just seemed so perfect, and it really did just kind of put a weird kind of tempo that Hunter had to play to.
Yeah, well, Ari just kind of sensed that the hand was weak from Hunter and went after the one kind of draw support that Hunter's deck has available, and he fought back with a pretty good turn of just double Curse Blast and taking a knockout on the active, but Gardevoir EX with a Hero's Cape is just too much for Origin Form Palkia V-Star to be able to take.
You know what's unfortunate, though, is that we have the one card in deck that actually just like mitigates that, right, completely. And that is going to be that Lost Vacuum. We just didn't see it before, but it is going to be Hunter starting us off. But you hate to see it. Both Palkia and Duskull going down. Blood Moon, Ursaluna in the active. I don't know how much I like this hand coming out from Hunter. I do believe I see a nest ball there, but we are going to keep digging with these trekking shoes. But Hunter needs a lot of answers because things are already flying off the rails here.
Yeah, this is the first time we actually seen Pokestop in this match. Hunter plays, 3 copies of it, and it is the vital engine of the deck. Now, hopefully, he can get things going and go through the deck even fast. But again, the piece of the Greninja EX is in the prize cards. You hate to see it if you're a Froakie fan.
And honestly, no way to go get it either because the one of Irida is in the prizes, the one of Hisui and Heavy Ball is in the prizes, the one of Froakie is in the prizes, and the one of Squawkabilly is in the prizes too. These prize cards are not benefiting Hunter at all, especially when he's already discarded 1 Duskull and 1 Origin Form Palkia V.
Yeah, along with a Night Stretcher. Also, the one of Countercatcher is in the prize cards as well. So 5 one-ofs in the prize cards for Hunter in this very important game 2 here. Night Stretcher is going to at least bring an attacker into play that can get things going. But one thing that's missing, energy.
Yeah, not seeing any of it here. I have to say this deck only does play 2 earthen vessels too. So, I mean, when you lose your Irida that searches out an item to your prize cards, maybe not our favorite thing, especially when Pokestop's not helping you either. But maybe the instant charge will. So heading on over into Ari's turn. Got a Buddy Poffin. Honestly, the prizes on Ari's side are just not that bad. I mean, we have a TM Evolution in there, which is not terrible when you play 2 of them, so it's still searchable by Arvid. You have Flutter Mane in there too. A counter catcher, I think now, but that's just not that bad compared to all of your one-ups just being absolutely off the table for this game.
Yeah, Ari could not be happier with the way this Game 2 has turned out after that Game 1 victory. Really hoping to make his first ever Day 2 here to start the season in Baltimore. And starting off with a Buddy Poffin is the best thing to do for Gardevoir.
Honestly, you can't ask for anything more, Jeremy. And we could even play it a little bit more aggressive too. There's a Klefki in the hand. We have Monkey Dory. And I mean, the only tough part is that I'm not seeing the Arvid in hand at this angle to go on ahead and get the TM Evolution. We might have to work for it just a little bit. But honestly, I mean, you have Fluttermane, you have Klefki. There's the Hero's Cape, and we have TMD Evolution, which, you know, stages us down, but we wanted TM Evolution for this turn. That would have just been the perfect turn here, but we could be just seeing Attach Retreat, and there we go. It is going to be Klefki going into the active, turning off so many, if not all, of those abilities with Mischievous Lock.
Yeah, you were saying there's not much else you could ask for here for Ari's hand. There's a lot. Maybe a supporter could be pretty good. You know, It's not very good of a hand, and Hunter, if he was thinking about Iono, maybe not doing it now.
Still, though, I mean, what options do we have if not the Iono? There's the Lost Vacuum, though. So, honestly, this is kind of the hard part here is like, oh, man, like, I don't have much to really work with, but I guess, like, I don't want to give my opponent more cards because we know it's not that great, but let's see what the Pokestop brings us. So there's the Iono that goes, but I have to say there's 3 out of 4 stretchers already down here, and we haven't even seen a Curse Blast from a single line here.
Yeah, a little bit of a kind of missequence there where I feel like you kind of want to Pokestop first before using that Night Stretcher, especially down 2 already. It worked out for Hunter here. Going to be able to get a little bit more set up with another Duskull in play. But resources are running very thin for Hunter and has only discarded 1 Water Energy. Doesn't have another one in hand. You got 2 Rare Candy. I don't know if you really want to Iono those to the bottom, especially if your opponent didn't do anything. And yeah, just a pass of the turn.
And still, though, it is going to just be the Psychic Energy here. Pokestop here. Going to find the Buddy Buddy Pop and the Monkey Dory and the Earthen Vessel. Maybe not exactly what we need, but we can at least start getting some of the Psychic Energy into the discard when our deck allows for us to find a Curlia. But like we said, a big turn 1 miss onto the Arven here. So it might just be a Joust for 10.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe set that Dark Energy on that Monkey Dory, or even stack an energy on that Flutter Mane on the bench. You really just have to survive at this point if you're Ari, and you already won game 1. There's 23 minutes left to go in the match. This one's going to be a little bit longer. Maybe we do see the Joust. All right.
Come on, man.
10
It's
damage. Discard all tools from the active Pokemon. So right now it's going to be 10 damage.
I was about to say, I bet Hunter Butler wish he had it just like that one attack just to get the Hero's Cape off. But it is going to be Joust is announced for 10. No tools on the board, so we're good. Going back on over to Hunter's board. I just love how the layout was just like, ooh, 110, just 10 damage. But my goodness, double rare candy into the Dusknoir line. And now we're going to see a lot of Curse Blast going on. Oh, but I have to say, the Hero's Cape has been attached to the Ralt on the bench.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And also, I might be wrong because I did read off some of the Baltimore city facts, but I do believe jousting is their state sport.
They did it for you, actually.
So, yeah. Klefki is getting in there. It's funny that Curse Blast is not able to take a knockout thanks to that Hero's Cape on that one Ralts, but one is still going to get knocked out. It will give cards to Ari, but this is where you're going to see the Iono, because Iono can just force Ari to go down to 4 cards instead of the full 6.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. You get the Pokestop off the prizes and the Squawk, but then again, you've now given Ari a supporter to kind of work with. But my goodness, there it is, the Lost Vacuum that we needed last game, but we are going to use Squawk ability to just get it out of play. And there is the Iono, so we're actually going to just take the supporter once again out of Ari's hand. And now Hunter is absolutely cooking this game.
I mean, we're boiling water at least.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're setting up for the instant noodles.
Well, I do see Nest Ball, I think, in Hunter's hand. So that could be Nest Ball, Radiant Greninja, and then Concealed cards. So we're starting to kind of work the magic here, especially when that Palkia has been sitting there for a little bit. So we could go on ahead and grab Origin Form Palkia V. V-Star, I should say, and then we could start swinging for all of the damage on the bench here. But there's the Radiant Greninja. I'm going to get a little bit of a deck cut here. Okay, Pokestop first here. Going to be the Mew, the Water Energy, and the Iono. Don't get to keep any of that. That one hurts.
Yeah, one of the rare, just discard all the cards with Pokestop. Granted, the Water Energy, probably good here, but just a pass of the turn. No switch card for Hunter. No Palkia V-Star. And now we're going to take a look at Ari's hand. Looks like a bunch of Pokemon, a Professor Turo scenario, a boss's orders. Not really much. And yeah, Pokestop gets another Earthen Vessel. This has been an awkward game for both players.
Yeah, and Gardevoir EX also now in the discard pile. Honestly, what Hunter did of just getting rid of the 2 Ralts is just did himself a ton of favors here. So Earthen Vessel away, the Professor Turos. Honestly, at this point, right, it's the pace of the game has just slowed down so much. We saw something starting to happen, and then all of a sudden the Iono just didn't do anybody any favors here. So it will just be the Earthen Vessel for the 2 Psychic Energies, and honestly, they just kind of have to stay there. That's the crazy part. We don't have refinement to start getting them into the discard. They're just kind of stuck.
We do see the Manaphy, though, which is great at countering that Moonlight Shuriken from Greninja, especially that Hunter does not have a Duskull in play. So no worry about a Curse Blast taking a knockout on that bench barrier.
Got to talk about it. This Klefki is getting some spotlight this round. 2 jousts in a row, but look at Hunter playing so quickly at this point. Pokestop again, my goodness, what a great hit there. 2 Ultra Balls and a Buddy Buddy Poffin. We are seeing Palkia V-Star this turn for sure.
Yeah, and that is something that can actually use its ability, since it's not a basic Pokemon with that Mischievous Lock from Klefki, shutting down that Concealed cards and the instant charge from the Rotom V. Energy from hand, that means this Palkia will be able to attack. Do we see Prime Catcher maybe switch? No. Wow.
Certainly the round 9 of all time, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I gotta say, this is definitely the winning in that I totally expected to cast in my first regional. Pokestop again. It is just going to be the Buddy Buddy Poffin, but the counter catcher. I can't say though we want anything else in the active other than this Blood Moon Ursaluna. So I guess we'll keep that in the pocket and we'll save it for later. But there's the Buddy Buddy Poffin coming back down again. Can go on ahead and find a Ralts at this point. We definitely need to just see Curlia at some point in this game for Ari, because honestly, you got to look at it right now, Jeremy. The clock is ticking down.
Yeah, it is doing what clocks do, and this game is doing what some Pokemon do by just not really much. This hand is
this hurts.
just nothing from Ari and passing the turn, but thankfully, that Blood Moon Ursaluna is just a beefy Pokemon in the active spot. There is a lot of retreat on that thing, and maybe we'll get 24 turns of Joust. Who knows?
Listen, I would never sleep on it, but still, though, are going to Ultra Ball in for the Duskull here. We're going to get those Curse Blast lines just set up again. This is the most I've seen Klefki attack, I think, ever, dare I say. I'm just going to pass again. Oh, there's the Pokestop, but finds the Night Stretcher. I believe that is our final one, dare I say. But still, I mean, you got to look at Ari's hand. A whole lot of nothing going on there.
This is so awkward for Hunter. Just cannot find one of the two switch outs.
We found
in the deck.
Arvin. It's about time we found a good buddy Arvin here. We will be finding the Technical Machine evolution, so I have great news for us, Jeremy. We will be seeing some refinements, at least next turn, unless there could be a Dusknoir that comes down and just has something to say about that, and then maybe we only get one. But
there's very much a possibility that that happens from Hunter's next turn. Just Rare Candy Dusknoir finally finds something like a Prime Catcher, and eventually you're going to discard enough energy with Pokestop that you can Star Portal the Moonlight Shuriken, and if we do see both the Curlia go down, that is going to mean we're going to go straight to a Game 3.
There it is, bumping the Pokestop though, so requiring Hunter to take a couple more extra steps here. But got to talk about it. I mean, the Hero's Cape is out of here, so these Raltses, like you said, and now these Curlias are a little bit more susceptible to anything. Pokestop goes down. We're going stadium for stadium right now.
No.
But there's the Nest Ball and the Earthen Vessel. I think that is the last Pokestop in the deck that just went down.
There's five cards in the deck for Hunter. There is a Switch and a Prime Catcher. Has to pass the turn back. Now Ari's going to finally start doing what Gardevoir does best, and that is drawing cards with refinement. And maybe Ari finally turned the corner here in this game too.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you might need, right? There's just a way for you to draw a lot of cards, start moving damage around too, looking very, very comfortable right now. But still, this Blood Moon Ursaluna is just stuck in the active. The thing is, though, do we swing with Gardevoir EX? How do we even go about this line?
All right, hear me out.
All right, I'm hearing.
Flutter Mane.
Okay, tell me why.
Pretty good. Does
Thank
damage
you.
on the
That's
bench.
it. No, damage on the bench too. That definitely can make it easier for that Screamtail to come down and make easy work of the Palkia a little bit later here. I totally agree with you there. But look at Ari. I mean, I feel like at this point, right? I definitely don't think that Hex Hurl is a bad idea, right? I mean, like, it keeps Blood Moon Ursaluna, I guess, in the active. And, I mean, it's better than 10 damage. Might as well keep spreading the damage, too.
All right, both refinement have been used. Super Odd is going to shuffle back a Gardevoir EX. But, again, the bench is kind of full here. Ari can't really get down a Screamtail to... which would be the best option, to snipe around the Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. And granted, with each prize card that Ari does take, the Blood Moon Ursaluna is closer and closer to start attacking for less energy. But when you start it, it is the worst card to start in this deck.
Absolutely, especially with, I don't believe, at least from what I can see, there's more switches than just a switch and then Prime Catcher. So you are only working with 2 switches. And here we go, though. It is going to be the Gardevoir EX coming into the active right now. It's not going to do all the damage. Actually, it might with Monkey Dory move some of that on over to Blood Moon Ursaluna there. But man, like this is such a tough draw from Hunter. We just really haven't been able to see him cook this game.
Yeah, even with the Adrenabrain from Monkey Dory, I do believe it's going to be 10 damage short, which is actually perfect
Right.
for Ari in this situation. It still keeps the Blood Moon Ursaluna in the active spot, forces the switch out from Hunter, which now down to 4 cards left in the deck. Is it even available?
It's got to be one of them, right? A switch? Question mark at this point. See what is going on in the hand, but also the discard pile here too. I mean, with Hunter playing 4 Iono, I believe most of them are already down due to discards off of the Pokestop too. So I don't know how it's going to turn out for Hunter here, especially with a deck that really was just so versatile. We got to see a little of it in game number 1, but we've just kind of seen this standoff here where we've seen Klefki joust 3 times in a row. Blood Moon Ursaluna has been just kind of stuck there. We'll see what the concealed cards does, Jeremy. I mean, it's
all right, we finally found the Prime Catcher. It's okay. Not being able to use concealed cards for like 5 turns there really hurt. Now, the one bad thing about Prime Catcher is you kind of want to knock out the Gardevoir EX. It's not the best right now, especially because it's in the active spot. Could have used Curse Blast and then your Palkia to take the knockout. Now you're going to be forced to switch game plans here. Maybe now we see the Moonlight Shuriken Curse Blast play.
Could, right? Could potentially. Bringing forward the Klefki here, and like you said, bringing up the Greninja, at least for the moment. See how this one is going to go, but like you said, Jeremy, excellent call. It is going to be this Moonlight Shuriken play coming out from Hunter Butler, but there are 2 cards left in deck. I mean, this does something great now, but how sustainable is this option?
No,
There's
he forgot about Manaphy.
Hey, you know.
Oh, no, the Klefki. The Mischievous Lock, it turns off the Manaphy. You don't even need a Curse Blast. This is the best route that Hunter could have taken.
Yeah, but where do you put the next 90? Obviously, you take out the Refinement Curlia, but I guess you just stack on the damage onto that Gardevoir there?
Yeah, you got to do what you can, especially because that Monkey Dory is going to be moving the damage from the Gardevoir to that Blood Moon or Ursaluna maybe to take those prizes. Granted, you can always do that, so you can save it, especially if Ari gets another Monkey Dory down.
Yeah, a crazy, crazy turn of events here with Klefki literally allowing that Moonlight Shuriken to actually happen here. There's the boss. Where are we going to
is this just game right here? Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Boss's orders the Rotom V, taking the knockout on the Blood Moon Ursaluna EX with Adrenabrain, and then Gardevoir cleans it up, and just like that, Ari is going on to day 2 here in his first regionals ever.
My goodness, what a run so far, and what an odd game number 3, right? Like it feels like everyone's kind of like stun-locked of, wow, what actually just happened? We saw so much there, but congratulations to Ari going all the way in the first regional. That is just such a feat. I know I personally went 0-4 at my first regional. How'd you do at your first regional, Jeremy?
It was too long ago. I don't remember.
Oh, man. You don't got to out yourself like that. Still, though, congratulations to Ari. What a great showing of Gardevoir EX. But honestly, I wish we got to see a little bit more of Hunter's deck just because I wanted to see something along the lines of Greninja EX. But we're going to go on ahead and check out the replay, see what exactly went on and what was such a strange win in it.
Yeah, this was a great turn 2 for Hunter. Just unfortunately could not find the 3rd energy to really pop off and settled for that subspace swell to take the knockout. But then this was the turning point of the game, right? Scream Tail paired with the Adrenabrain from the Monkey Dory, taking the knockout on the Mew EX, really just kind of stalled Hunter's hand a little bit for a couple turns, and that's exactly what Ari needed with his deck like Gardevoir EX. This is another big turn of Curse Blast, taking a knockout and a knockout, 2-2 prizes, but it just was not enough. Ari able to pull out game 1 here pretty convincingly after that, thanks to that Hero's Cape Gardevoir.
Yeah, really great stuff. And then this game number 2, which was just so interesting the entire time. I mean, the Dusknoir Curse Blast on 2 Raltas was definitely the correct play. And then we even finally got to see the Lost Vacuum come into play too. But it just Blood Moon Ursaluna was there maybe for 4 or 5 turns, Jeremy. It was just never leaving that spot.
Yeah, made its home, decided to hibernate for a little bit, and it wasn't until 5 cards left in the deck that Hunter found that Prime Catcher, and closing it out with the one of Boss's orders to bring up that Rotom V, taking the 4 prize turn thanks to Adrenabrain from Monkey Dory. And there's, at least 3 Gardevoir into day 2. Who would have thought?
I'm filling out my apology form to Gardevoir because I really, I came into this regional, I made a tier list in my head, and really Gardevoir and Shenpao were really in the Phantom Dive and Trifrost exist. Why would you do this to yourself? And here we are, Ari, first regional, day 2 with Gardevoir EX. Out of all decks that you could do it with, Gardevoir EX.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see the classics still come back in this format with how diverse it is. So maybe, you never hit the Regidrago and you're like, all right, I don't have to worry about Kyurem at all. And I'm still just, a single prize deck until the very end, and it seems to work.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested in hearing from Ari.